Hi everyone, it's Sasha from Women's Fight News. Of course, we've got Susie from Women's Fight News, and we've got our special guest. We've got Commonwealth champion, WBO international champion, Nina Hughes. Nina, how are you today?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, we're good, aren't we, I think? Susie, how are you?
Yeah, good, yeah.
We've all
Excited.
just been complaining it's a little bit late at night. It's too late for me and Nina because Susie keeps everyone up dead late.
Sorry.
But it's great to have you on, Nina, because obviously you've got a fight coming up in a couple of weeks. So we're going to talk about that soon. Obviously, we've got some fighters coming up that you might have some interest in the future. So we've got loads to talk about. We're going to start, though. Susie, you're going to start us off with kind of what's gone on this past weekend.
Yes, there's been a couple of world title fights. It's all the action's been in Mexico this weekend.
Yeah.
Which is hard for us as fight fans because it's hard to get hold of the footage. Like I've literally only just watched one of the fights just before we came live because it's the only chance I had to find the footage. So first up, Friday night, we had Montserrat Alarcon, who retained her WBA World Atomweight title against Brenda Balderas. So that was Friday night. So the belt stays with her. The big one for me was Saturday in Mexico again. Obviously, it's Lourdes Juarez, who was the WBC super flyweight champion, and she went up against Ashley Gonzalez. Now, it was controversial because Lourdes, who was expected to win, actually lost. And one judge had it 95-95, so draw, and the other two had it 96-94. Lourdes says she felt she won. And you can see from her reaction, if you watch the end of the fight, the result comes up and she's shocked. She literally goes, looks round to her sister, the legend, Mariana. And Mariana's like, what the? So they just completely disagreed with the result. Managed to just watch this fight just now. And I recommend anyone watching it because what a great show of boxing. Just from a point of view of the boxing, I loved it because it's just all action. And you can see that Juarez is the more skilled. And you can see that Ashley's the much one going in with the swinging shots, but she seems a little bit perhaps more powerful. I personally had it as either a draw or leaning towards Juarez. So it's very interesting to see what other people are making of it. I put out a tweet because I want to know what other people think because I haven't seen that much noise because, again, no one can really watch it other than people in Mexico. So I'd like to see what people really think. You know, was it justified that Juarez lost her belt or not? Let's see what people say. I don't think she should have. I think she should have retained it on a draw, perhaps. But
how did you watch the fight then? Because I've not been able to watch it yet.
Found it on YouTube. So, but literally,
it's on YouTube.
Somebody who was sat ringside with their phone. It's literally been uploaded like that. But actually, it's bad footage. One thing was interesting is Mexico is known for its dodgy decisions. Not that I'm saying anything dodgy happened because I watched the fight, felt it was very close, but it's it was for Gonzalez. Like literally, you watch it, every single time she even swung her fist and it went near her, didn't even hit her, the crowd roared, which can swing the judges.
Yeah.
Again, the crowd were just all like chanting her, all going mad when she won. So it was literally, I don't feel like there was any supporters there for Juarez. So I don't know where she went for this fight. She obviously went into the hometown or something because it's all for her opponent.
That definitely happens though. Like I've sat ringside and then kind of being swung because I can hear the crowd and they're cheering. And then I score it like dead wide. I'll put it on Twitter and everyone slates me. I'll get home, rewatch it, and I'm like, oh, none of them punches landed. But I'm like giving all these rounds to someone because I think it definitely sways. Be interesting if like the judges could put like headphones on, like noise cancellation.
Yeah.
Definitely. Won't happen, though.
Yeah. Because how much as a fighter, how much do you feel the crowd affects you?
Yeah, so it can sometimes because sometimes like you feel like you've landed a shot and you can hear the crowd shouting good shot for your opponent and things like that. So I suppose you have to try and block it out, but you can affect you a bit.
Yeah, because I think it's hard, especially ringside. Like I'm the first to slate judges because I think they are poor sometimes. But then I always say, like, ringside, you have half of the ring, you have the perfect view, and the other half you don't. And it is difficult, and it's really tough to see what does land. And there's been times I've thought someone's landed like 7 combos, and actually you rewatch it and they've not hit anything. They've hit maybe gloves, a couple of elbows and stuff like that. So it is tough. And obviously if you're in the crowd and you're sitting up in the gods, everything looks like it's landing. I remember sitting for like AJ Usyk and everyone for the first fight, and everyone was cheering. I'm thinking, they don't look like they're landing, but everyone just gets so excited, don't they? So it is a tough one there.
Yeah. So recommend it. Give it a watch. Tell me what you think. So that ultimately I'd love to see Juarez fight again, because I think she's right up there. She'll get another belt. So maybe rematch down the line. But I would love to see Juarez over here in the UK, because selfishly, I'd like to see her right live because she just looked, beautiful. All that's all to say. When you watch someone fight and you think, wow, they just look so pleasing to watch. She just fights like that. If you watch any round, watch the 4th, and I'm just watching it thinking, that's she's so skilled. I'd love to see her live.
That's what you're aspiring to when you're in the gym, Susie. That 4th round.
Yeah, I'm more like the YouTubers.
Any other fights happened this weekend that were a standout for you?
And then also Jackie Nava fought, and she obviously, it was the last fight. She went out. She said she was going to retire after this fight, so it's nice that she went out on a win. So happy retirement to Jackie Nava, the legend of the sport again in Mexico. Yeah,
she'll be missed, won't she? I'm quite sad about that. Never mind. Can't go forever, can you?
No, nice to end on a high.
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to have to fit that in tomorrow, finding them on YouTube and watching them. I'm looking forward to that. Nina, we're going to move on to you because obviously you've got a fight coming up. But first, I want to talk about your past fight where you won your 2 titles.
Yeah.
The end of July you fought, is that correct? How? Because I loved that fight. So I think I've watched it like 3 times. I really enjoy it. It was a really good scrap, and actually credit to both of you for taking it, because that's a 50, you're looking at that as a 50-50 fight quite early on in both of your careers. Did you have any questions about, should I take it this early on, or was you just, I want the titles and I'll fight her?
Box for the titles. Obviously, like I was originally matched with Effie, and that fell through twice. And then it was offered to a number of other people who turned it down. So I was just grateful that title stepped up and I could get the chance to box for those titles.
Yeah. How did you rate your performance? Have you watched it back at all?
Yeah, watched it back live quite a few times. I wasn't happy with my performance because I thought it got too scrappy. I knew she was obviously taller and rangier, so I had to get close, but I thought I was getting too close and like letting her hold me, and it just got too scrappy. So get that little bit more distance, so I could fight on the inside. But I'll ground out the win, so that's the main.
Yeah, that's all that matters. I think as a fan, I mean, we all love scrappy fights, don't we? Like, I love fights like that, and I know boxers don't. Obviously, you want it to be a little bit cleaner, I suppose, and things like that. But Tyce's a very good fighter, and like I say, she's quite tall for the weight, isn't she, as well?
Yeah, she's a good fighter. We knew she would want to box on the outside, and we knew she liked to hold on the inside. So I just need to keep my distance a little bit more, which I didn't do, but. Yeah, it is what it is. So,
but you come out with the win.
Everything for all mistakes. So hopefully, put on a better performance.
Yeah, well, you come out, didn't you, as Commonwealth champion, WBO international champion. You're defending your WBO title, aren't you, in 2 weeks? Or less than 2 weeks' time now.
Yeah.
Perfect. And do you know much about your opponent?
No, not really. She's a Spanish girl. She's undefeated. She's had 3-0. Can't really find any footage of her as a pro, only as an amateur.
Yeah.
So, we'll just we'll train. I've been sparring all different styles, so we'll be ready for whatever she has to bring.
See what you get on the night, because I was looking the other day, because it wasn't on BoxRec, and then obviously you've got your fight poster, so she's 3-0 like yourself, so you've got 2 undefeated fighters, and I was like, I've not really heard of her, so I was trying to look and I couldn't find anything. I didn't know if it was me just missing it.
We had the same problem. There's lots of her amateur fights, but obviously it's a big difference between amateur and pro, and yeah, they're quite a while ago, so we'll see.
So how's camp been then for this one? Obviously, you said you weren't particularly happy with your last performance. So have you been working on things for this camp moving forwards?
Yeah, we've been working on loads. I was straight, like, had a week off, and I was just straight back in the gym, just like ticking over, working on trying to perfect all the things I did wrong. So hopefully you'll see a much better side of me.
Nice. And
so I was going to say, talking about when we're saying when you've got the home support, it's in Essex
Yeah.
again. Nice. So you've got your
Yes, yeah, it's Grays, where I was brought up and born and lived most of my life. So I've only recently moved out of Grays. So yeah, it'll be a nice level of home.
Nice. And so with the show, it's on what date is it? Was it October 15th?
15th. Yes, clashes with the big all female card.
They always do, don't they? It's difficult though, isn't it? Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Because obviously your show probably was penciled in well before, and obviously this one's been rearranged. The selfish. But like I say, you've got a home crowd. I'm sure you've sold loads of tickets as well. So I'm very excited to see you on that night as well. And I think we can watch it, can't we? It'll be streamed,
Yes,
am I correct?
Into Boxing streamed live.
Nice. So everyone can watch it as well. Exciting times.
We can have the all the boxing on, like we always say that with boxing when it always clashes, you're gonna have to have it on mobiles and TV. So have it all on.
Loads of devices.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get someone on your social media to like update when you're about to go on, so everyone can get ready in case they can't make it that night, and then they've got their phones or iPads or whatever ready.
That's great.
What we're going to come back to kind of like your future plans, because I know there's a couple of fighters that might be fighting, and I know there's been quite a lot of like rumors with yourself and other fighters, like with things in the works possibly. Now obviously though, we've got a show coming up this weekend. It's a Matchroom show. It's the big one, obviously Eubank and Ben, with quite a nice undercard. And obviously it's going to showcase 3 female fighters. I'm looking forward to that. Let's start with Shannon Courtenay. She's making her return. So personally, I'm excited to see her back in the ring. I think, I think it's literally going to be 12 months to the day practically since she lost against Jamie Mitchell. So I'm happy that she's back in the ring. I've decided though, I'm not looking forward to this fight at all. I'm just really not. And the reason is I'm looking forward to seeing what weight it's at, because I know, Susie, you said it's going to be Bantam.
Well, it always says on Box Rec, so
still not convinced. So that's all I'm bothered about. Aside from that, Gemma's fighting the following week on that Shields Marshall card. Yeah. So I just feel like she's going to have to play it super safe, because she can't get a head clash. She's just going to have to play it safe to make sure she turns up the following week. Yeah, so I just think it's going to be a bit of yeah. So I'm not particularly looking forward to it now that I've thought about it. But Susie, I'm going to start with you. Are you looking forward to it more than me?
Yeah, because we haven't seen Shannon out for a year. It'd be nice to see what she comes out with, like what weight, like you say, because it could be, like you say, it could be a catch weight. Although it says on Box Rec bantamweight, it could be higher than that. But it'd just be nice to see her make the weight. And then the actual fight, like you say, it is very dodgy for Gemma doing this, because Shannon, love her or hate her, she has got power. She can get a knockout, and then where does that leave her for next week? I
just think she's going to run the whole fight because of that. We do know, I mean, Shannon Courtenay's, like, her left hook has spun a girl 360 before. Like, she does have power. And we also know Shannon can come in with the head, because we've seen Ebony's eye as well. So, like, there's a lot of, I just think she's just going to run, literally just run like laps around. And that's no criticism to Gemma, because you do, like, she's getting paid for 2 consecutive fights. Good on her. I'd take them as well. But yeah, I think that could be an issue. Nina, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think Gemma will be in survival mode. Shannon could get the stoppage. It depends how the fight goes. But it's nice to stand back.
Yeah. Is Shannon Courtenay a potential, like, because, I mean, obviously you're fighting Super Bantam, Nina, but would you go to Bantam?
Bantam's at world level, I'd more aim for bantamweight because I think it was that weight. I stepped up to super bantamweight because the titles, these boxer titles are there, so I couldn't not take them. But ideally, at world level, definitely bantamweight's better for me.
Yeah. So someone like Shannon Courtenay, let's say she wins this fight, which, you know, I'm going to hope she does for her own career, obviously. I think she wants... Yeah. We'll talk about Jamie Mitchell in a minute. I think she obviously wants the Jamie Mitchell fight, but I don't know how easy that is to make. I don't know if that'll happen. Is Shannon Courtenay someone that you see yourself potentially facing in the future if there's a world title on the line?
If there's a world title on the line, then definitely, yeah. I mean, that's the main goal for me is the world title. So it's all about taking the right fights to get to that world title. Or obviously the people that have got the world title, they're the people that. So if she's got a world title, a fight that could happen.
How quick then, Nina, after an injury? So she's been out for 12 months now. I think she said she had 2 knee surgeries in the end. I think it was like her ACL, I think. How quick would you expect someone to get back to that world level? Because that's a huge injury, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, only she'll know how it goes in the fight, how her knees improved. So, yeah, as quickly as possible. I'm sure she'll want to get back in the mix as quickly as possible.
Yeah. And Susie, like, I know Shannon, I thought Eddie Hearn, one of them, because of very similar people, but I think it was actually Eddie Hearn who said she'll do this fight like warm-up fights, which I think is fair enough, and then she wants to challenge straight away for a world title. How risky is that? Because she has already got 2 losses on her record. Is that a big jump after 12 months out to go from Gemma, who isn't world level, which is fair to say, to, let's say, Jamie Mitchell, for an example?
I mean, it is a big risk, and it depends on how she performs Saturday night. I think I've said this before, if she performs brilliantly and gets on a magnificent knockout, well, yeah, go for it. But it's probably more than likely, like you say, it's going to be a bit more of a boring fight with Gemma running. Is it going to give her that experience enough? I don't know, but she's going to be under so much pressure to take that fight, isn't she? Because, you know, the money they've invested in her from Matchroom, they want her to get going again. The fans are going to be complaining if she fights anyone else who's not world level. You know, it's a lot of pressure on her. So I think whatever happens, she's just going to be pushed into that fight anyway.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, isn't it? Like you say, you won't know till the night. And as she put on Instagram saying that she's come back quicker than she thought, I always find that really worrying because I think, is it rushed sometimes? Like, if you didn't think you were coming back for 18 months, why are you back after 12? Like, just, you know, she's not... What is she, like late 20s or something? Like, she's got loads of years in the bank still, hasn't she? So I always get a bit like, you know, I think we've seen that a couple of times where fighters have come back and then they've got injured straight away. That's a disaster. So that'll be interesting to see. Like I said, I'm not particularly looking forward to that though. But I am to see Shannon Courtenay back in the ring, more so to see her on the scales.
And it's mentally as well, if not even just physically, just to see where her head's at.
And like the trust that she's got in her knee. I think that's the big thing after, you know, such a horrendous injury and 2 surgeries. You're not just going to have full faith in it. So her movement will be interesting because it was obviously poor against Jamie Mitchell, but we know why. So I think there's loads of question marks. And mentally, like you've just said, I mean, she's got a lot of pressure on her, even in this fight. Will be interesting. I hope she obviously, you know, I'm sure she'll come through. Could be a fight with Nina down the line, world title.
Hopefully.
That would be big. Chloe Watson's also fighting Nancy Franco, who is 19 wins, 17 losses, and 2 draws. But most of her wins come quite earlier on in her career. So when I looked, I don't know too much about Nancy Franco, but when I've looked at her box rec, it seemed to have been, she won quite a few, had a couple of losses, and then it kind of felt that she'd become like a B-side fighter. Like that wasn't like the initial plan, but it's kind of how her careers went. But we're big fans of Chloe Watson, aren't we? So, Susie, what are we thinking of this fight? We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, Chloe, she did great in the last fight. She stole the night, didn't she? She was fighter of the night. So yeah, I can't wait wait to see her back in the ring. She's the full package, and you know, I don't mind this opponent. I think it's perfect for her at this stage. So yeah, I'd just be quite happy. Like her style, I'm going to look forward to it.
Yeah, because she's only 3-0, so it's a decent opponent, isn't it? I mean, everyone's going to progress slightly different as well, aren't they? Like, I mean, to be fair, actually, Nina, you're 3-0, aren't you? And obviously, your career might be progressing quicker.
Gotta be rushed though.
Yeah. Well, like everyone's different though, aren't they? They're in these different situations, and I suppose Chloe's just going to take her time. Nina, have you seen much of Chloe?
I've only seen little bits of her, but looking at her opponent, definitely a step up. I mean, Chloe's only young, isn't she? So
yeah,
won't rush in too much, just progressing and stepping up bit by bit at a time.
Yeah, she's like a baby in boxing terms, isn't she? Because typically we are seeing girls, like, typically it's kind of 30s, isn't it? So when you've got someone like early 20s, like, you've literally got like 10 years to get your way up. I mean, it's never going to take that long, but that's how much time realistically you could have if you wanted to.
Yeah,
but I like Chloe, and you know, she's got a great trainer, obviously. With Ricky Hatton, you know, he might know what he's doing, mightn't he?
just a little bit.
He knows a thing or two. I'm looking for, he's going to be on the Tasha Jonas card, but you know, the bit after. So, because you remember last time, I think it was Fury and Hunter, if I'm thinking correct, it was that boxer show. And if you had a ticket to that, you could stay and watch Ricky Hatton, whoever he was fighting. Obviously, the whole show was cancelled.
Mm.
So they're doing it again. So it's going to be the Tasha Jonas, Marie of the Care fight. Oh, and obviously the undercard. And then after that, you can stay and you can watch Ricky Hatton. That's pretty decent for one ticket.
That is good. Good value.
I love that. I mean, Ricky Hatton back in the ring, like, he's lost so much weight. He looks in unbelievable shape. He's the only one who I'm actually looking forward to seeing, who's like, I know he's not coming out of retirement, but you know, after all these years, I'm actually quite looking forward to seeing him move around.
It's always exciting to watch.
Yeah, and he's such a personality, so that'll be good. So yeah, if anyone gets a Tasha Jonas ticket, it's like 2 for 1.
He's unbelievable transformation, because like you say, he gets so out of shape, doesn't he, out of camp. To this transformation is unbelievable.
Yeah. And I know Chloe was saying how it motivated her and actually helped her in her own camp as well. And I suppose that does help. I mean, it's not often that your trainer is going to be going through a camp process with you. So at least you've got a shoulder to cry on when you're hungry as well. So I'm sure that helps.
Yeah, definitely.
Another fight. This is the one I'm really looking forward to. So we've got Ellie Scotney, Mary Romero for the European title, isn't it, at Super Bantam. I'm excited for this. So this is, I mean, Susie, would you say this is a step up from Ellie's last fight? Ooh, I thought you were going to say yes.
No. It's not a step up. It's just a different type of fight, and it's
like a step aside.
yeah, because I know that Roman had been beaten already by Ebony, was no longer a champion, but she was a world champion and a long reigning world champion. Mary Romero is a European champion, and I don't feel like she's had those big fights to prove herself as otherwise yet. But she's a very awkward fighter, so it's a very interesting fight. So I don't feel like it's a step up, but it's still, you know, a great opponent, and it'd be great to have, you know, to have a European belt. So it's quite an accolade in itself. But yeah, I do think with Ellie, she's an amazing fighter. I think she's great future. But if she struggles with anything, it's the inside work. And I think that we saw that with the last couple of fights. And it'd be interesting with Mary, because she puts the pressure on the inside. She's very awkward. So it'd be a very interesting fight. I'd definitely see Ellie winning, but it'd just be nice to see how she goes about it.
Yeah, definitely. Nina, do you think it's a step up from her last couple of opponents, or are you on Susie's level?
Probably about the same. I mean, that Mary Romero is a good fighter. See her fight Amy Timlin. So she has shown a good fighter. I think Ellie has got the skills, too clever for her, but she's strong and she's rugged and she'll bring a tough fight.
Yeah. That's why I think it's a bit of a step up because of her strength. Yeah, because she's got like, I know it sounds stupid, like she's got like that woman strength because she is just strong. And that was the issue with Amy Timlin. Amy Timlin just hasn't developed. So that was a bit of a mismatch, really. But I think Mary Romero, this is her weight. She's strong at the weight. If you look at Roman, that's not her weight, I don't believe. She's teeny tiny when you compare her to other girls. Georgina Guanini is teeny tiny. Mary Romero is not teeny tiny in the weight. This is her weight. Like, she looks strong in it. So for me, I think not skill level. It's not a step up, but I think with the strength and like you've just said, Susie, like she struggled, or Ellie's shown to struggle sometimes on the inside. That's all Mary has to do this fight. Is just rough her up, get her in a clinch, and just in a way bully her around the ring. I'm not saying she'll win, but she's going to make life awkward for Ellie. If Ellie doesn't do what she's best at and use her jab to keep her distance, use her reach and things like that. But I think it's a step up. But for that reason, like you say, it is a different opponent. But no, I do. I think it's a tough fight. I think it's the right level of stepping. I think each time she's went from Guanini to Roman to Romero, I think it's been a nice little stepping stone each time. So fair play to the matchmakers, because I feel like they're doing quite a good job with Ellie.
With Mary, because she's messaged me a couple of times and she's very excited about this fight. So I feel like Mary very much is in this fight, and in her mind she knows she can beat Ellie Scotney. So she's definitely coming there to bring the fight. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah. Well, she can spoil the party. Like when Amy Timlin went to fight her, Amy was, she's not a Matchroom fighter, but she went there to win. And she upset the party quite convincingly as well, in all fairness to Amy. Like, it was just a poor fight choice. But and then she fought Maria.
Oh yeah.
Checky.
Yeah.
Who done that classic headbutt. Why not? When you're losing, when in doubt, just headbutt. There's one, Nina, if you ever struggle. And you know what? Her temperament in that, because I'm telling you, someone headbutts you in the ring, you're going to be pretty pissed off. So I thought she kept quite calm and it was able to stick to a game plan. So, she showed maturity. She's got the strength. She's quite an unorthodox fighter. You wouldn't say she's got like the best boxing skill and maybe the best technique. But that's awkward, isn't it? So I'm looking forward to it. But do you both see Ellie Scotney coming through?
Yeah, I think it's a tough fight, but I definitely think Ellie Scotney will use her skills.
Yeah. Is this a fight you could potentially have, Nina, in the future, Ellie Scotney, or is it because she's super bantam, you're more interested in bantamweight?
I'm more interested in bantamweight. Obviously, if the opportunities come, there's world titles. I'm not going to turn them down. But me and Ellie do a lot of sparring together. So yeah, I'm more looking at bantamweight at the moment.
Yeah. So there's a bantamweight fight. Very excited for this one. So Ebony Bridges, Shannon O'Connell. Obviously, there was a big back and forth for ages. Are they going to fight? Are they not? Went to purse bid, all of that. So then it was announced they would fight, but there was no fight date. And then Josh Warrington was announced for December. I'm trying to see if I've wrote the date down. December 10th. So we all then knew that Ebony... Mind you, actually, I'm going to say we all knew. I thought Ebony would be on the Katie Taylor undercard. And I was completely wrong. And everyone tweeted me and went, she won't be, she'll be in Leeds. And I was like, no, I think this is a great opportunity for her to be in London. And I was wrong. But I just thought she'd be out a little bit sooner. But obviously she's on the Josh Warrington undercard. Are they co-main? Have I got that right?
Not that off, but I haven't heard
on the card. They're on the card. That's all that matters. So obviously this is Ebony Bridges' first title defence. Well, Shannon O'Connell, who is experienced, obviously she's had tons of fights, but she's had, I think, a handful of losses. I think she's had 23 wins and 6 losses with 1 draw. And what I am enjoying on Twitter is the back and forth. So some people think Ebony's going to win because, people are Ebony fans, of course, and everyone thinks she's going to win because they don't think Shannon's fought a high level of opponents. And then you flip it and people go, well, Shannon's more experienced, so she's going to beat Ebony. But I'm always with, like, you could have 50 fights, but if the 50 low-level fights, they're not really going to count as much as maybe 10 high-level fights, for instance. So, Susie, I'll go to you. I mean, it'll be no surprise. Who's going to win?
See, yeah, well, obviously I'm biased, being friends with Ebony. But I just, having looked at both their careers and how they both fight, I can't see Shannon winning. I can see Ebony winning because, yes, Shannon's had a great career. She's been at world level for a long time. She's had those shots. She's had a great run of it recently. She's beaten some great novices, but that's what they were really. They were kind of novices. So they look great on a record. But she beat Shanika Johnson, which was a great win.
That's her best win, though, realistically, isn't it?
Yeah, and that was a great win because Shanika Johnson's now, again, at your weight, Super champion. But when you looked at Shanika Johnson's record, she was like something like 14-0, something like that. But there wasn't big names there. She didn't fight anybody of note of world level before she fought Shannon. So for her, that was a big step up.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't feel like Shannon beat anyone that was, that experienced in Shanika. She hadn't fought that kind of caliber opponent. Then she fought, she fought Taylor Robertson. And again, Taylor is not, she's good. I think Taylor's going to go on to do great things, but she was still very new in the pro game when she got beaten. And when you watch that fight, not a lot happened in that fight. It was she didn't put the pressure on Shannon. Do you know what I mean? There wasn't a lot of shots fired. So I'm just thinking about the matchup and how Ebony fights coming forward. I see their matchup as Ebony coming forward, flustering Shannon, and I don't see Shannon winning.
Mm-hmm. Nina, what do you think?
I haven't watched enough of Shannon to judge her boxing, but looking at her record, she's lost to some tough people, hasn't she?
Yeah, I think when she steps up, because I know like Choi is one of them that she's lost to, who's obviously super featherweight. Like, so when her losses have come from high level opponents,
exactly, and they're heavier as well than her losses.
Bigger girls, yeah.
It's hard to. She didn't get stopped by them either. She went the distance, so it's hard to, without watching her how she got on with those. It's hard to gauge how she would do against Ebony. She's been knocked out twice. Oh, has she? Yeah, actually on the canvas by Helen Joseph.
That was it, Helen Joseph, wasn't it? Was that?
She's a big fighter, yeah.
Yeah. It's it's tough, isn't it? Because like she probably hasn't fought. Well, she hasn't fought high level girls consistently, but it's tough when you're in Australia. Like, same with New Zealand. We see it with Miyamoto as well, who, she's literally going like 7 different weight divisions just to get fights. Like it's tough, and I think that's where the decision has to come. Like Sky's done, like Ebony's done.
Yeah,
a couple of the guys have done that. Do you just risk it and move? Some have went to America, some have come to the UK, because it just must be tough because you're only because it's so expensive to be flying girls in to fight. You're literally on the other side of the world. So it is a tough one, isn't it? Like I say, we've not seen a lot of Shannon O'Connell to judge now. I don't everyone's very excited for this fight. I'm excited and I'm excited for the build up. But I don't know what it's going to be like in the ring. I feel like it could be a bit. I don't think the styles are going to gel quite nicely together for a fan sitting back and watching.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to be, say, Ebony's a come forward fight, and we know that. So I feel like Shannon could try and spoil that, because obviously she's there to win. And I don't know. I just feel like we've got a bit of clash of styles, and it's not going to be this epic fight we're all thinking.
I agree with that.
Fight week will be, and that's all I care about, because that press conference, I am getting there 7 hours early. I'm sitting on the front row and I am watching with my popcorn, so I don't care. So Susie, you think Ebony's going to win? Would it go distance or knockout?
You know what? one of the biggest factors is that Shannon completely underestimates Ebony. Shannon just sees Ebony as, well, you know, a lot of people see Ebony as that she, you know, how she's perceived that she's just more of an Instagram type model, doesn't actually train, doesn't do anything, which we all know is a load of rubbish because she trains ridiculously hard. She's a world champion. But I think her underestimating her is going to be potentially a bit more of a downfall for her. I think she's going to go in there and potentially even be knocked out by Ebony.
What round?
Interesting.
I reckon it's going to be early on, you know, maybe 3rd or 4th round.
What?
I think she's strong. You know, I think she's going to underestimate her. Ebony's going to be fresh with the power, and she's just going to get in there and knock her out.
So we're all going to put £10 on Ebony. Are you going to win us some big money? Because they'll be quite good odds. An early round knockout in women's boxing is always high odds. You could owe a lot of people money, Susie.
I think early on, otherwise I think it'll be going to points.
That's quite interesting. Nina, what do you think? Do you think, regardless of who wins, do you think it'll go the distance?
Yeah, I'm on the fence because I just haven't watched enough of Shannon. Ebony's definitely got the power to get a knockout, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Definitely.
This is bantamweight. This is a potential future fight for yourself as well.
Yeah, I'd love the winner.
I was going to say, like, you know, you've got the potential there of having the winner as well, because, you know, after your next fight, you know, I'm presuming you'd like to move up to world level if the opportunity came up.
Definitely. That's what I'm hoping for. So if the opportunity was there, I'd jump at it.
So you're going to be watching this fight very closely.
Very closely.
Amazing. Now I am looking forward to the build up of this fight, but yeah, I just feel, I don't know, we could be surprised. We'll see what happens on the night.
How do you feel it's going to go?
I think Ebony will win. I think Ebony will. I actually agree with you, Susie, where if there's a knockout, I think it would come early, because I think Shannon could, I think she could leave herself open a little bit, depending. Like you said, she's underestimated it a little bit. I think the first few rounds will tell kind of how the fight will play out. I do think Ebony will win, but I think it could either be Ebony knockout quite early on or close on points, based on Shannon spoiling Ebony's work and making it tough for Ebony to kind of look like she's dominating the rounds. But I don't know. It's tough because I think Shannon's not super active in rounds sometimes. I think she can be quite overly patient sometimes, and she doesn't do a lot, but she stops her opponent from doing a lot. Yeah. So you can get kind of some dead rounds. So because of that, I think if it went, when I say close, I don't mean like 95 type thing, but you know, I think she could get a few rounds where you're a bit like, I don't know who to give that to, because she's kind of spoiled some work. But I just feel like it's going to be one of them fights, to be fair. And I think once it's done, it's over, no rematch, and like, let's move on. Let's have Nina face the winner, like, you know, let's have a proper scrap. Because I feel like it's not a fight that I'm like, I'm excited to see Ebony live then for the first time. That's what I'm excited for. But yeah, I think Ebony will win. I do. I think she'll win. She'll have to now, because you've got us all putting money on the third round knockout, so she's going to have to win. Someone else in the bantamweight division, we spoke about it briefly, Jamie Mitchell. Right, Nina, you're on Twitter the other week, I think, and you got back and forth. Jamie Mitchell, can I just add, has been painfully inactive.
Yeah.
No fault of her own. Like, I feel so sorry for Jamie Mitchell. Like, the worst thing that's happened to her is winning that title.
Yeah, I don't understand why she's been so inactive. So I hate social media, but it seems how the big fights are made these days. So she was complaining about her inactivity. So I just said that I was more than ready and I'd be up for the opportunity.
Yeah.
And then it went back and forth a bit. And then she deleted all her tweets the next day.
She deleted them all?
Apart from the one that she said, "Do after that? I think I'm ready," like laughing.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah, they went backwards, forwards, loads between. I didn't even really get involved too much. I think I put one other thing, and yeah, they will all get deleted next day. But that is definitely a fight that she's been inactive. I mean, Shannon, Ebony Bridges, and Shannon Courtenay are boxing in December, so that's the fight I'd love, and I'm looking at. So yeah, I hope I get the opportunity, but we'll see.
I'd love that. I'd love
It's
that
definitely
fight.
one I believe I can win, so that's what we're looking at.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, 100%. I mean, that fight has to happen realistically because it makes sense because Jamie Mitchell's being inactive. It's not her fault. I feel awful for her.
Yeah.
It's been this whole thing of waiting for Shannon Courtenay, but I don't think that fight's going to happen anytime soon. To be honest, I don't think that fight's going to happen, period, because I think by the time Shannon gets to world level, I don't think Jamie will have the belt. So I don't think that rematch will happen. You're ready to fight in, like, say, December. So
Yeah,
it all kind of fits together, doesn't it?
exactly. So she said she needs an opponent, and I'm willing to step up.
Would you go to America and fight her?
Yeah, definitely. I'll go anywhere to fight her.
Because I know when I spoke to Brian Cohen, he said they were keen on her, even though she loves fighting in the UK, they were keen on her making that another defence in America. And I was like, that's even easier because people, especially UK fighters, what an opportunity it is to go like,
yeah, brilliant.
Get some new
fans.
He
lives in Vegas as well, so that'd be a dream place to box in Vegas.
Go to the MGM Grand.
Why not?
Yeah, do that so they can all fly over.
I'd travel anywhere to box. I mean, given that opportunity, you've got to jump at it.
Yeah, 100%. So obviously we've not seen like a huge deal of Jamie Mitchell because she kind of, had a pro debut. She had a couple of fights. She then kind of was inactive for a few years, and then I first kind of properly saw her on the Clarissa Shields undercard a few years back when I'm sure it was like a split decision. And I'll be really honest, like I wasn't overly impressed. Like she is another fighter that I think at times is like too patient in rounds and just doesn't throw enough. And she's lost a couple because of that, not because she's necessarily being outboxed, she's just being outworked at times. Not necessarily impressed, but like, obviously she's beaten Carly Skellison, Shannon Courtenay. Kind of, do you still rate her up there with the other world level fighters, or do you think she's kind of got the right opportunity at the right time?
I mean, I do rate her. I think she's a good boxer. Like she showed a lot against Carly Skelly.
Yes.
But yeah, I do. I just believe that I've got the skills to beat her. So that's why I'm interested in that fight.
Susie, what do you rate Jamie Mitchell? Because obviously when she won the world title against Shannon Courtenay, who, she's already missed weight. I don't think her head was thin and she's got this injury. There was a lot stacked against Shannon that night, in all fairness. And then she had a corner telling her that she was winning rounds, which I don't think helped the whole situation because she wasn't. So are you kind of seeing that as she was literally in the right place at the right time, or are you seeing her as she could be at this opportunity anyway?
It's difficult to say. For me, I felt that night it was such a hard thing to call because Shannon could have been beat by anyone that night. She was just, like you say, her head wasn't in it. However, I did see that on one of the rounds, I'd have to watch it back, I can't remember which round it was, Shannon, even with her bad leg, rocked Jamie Mitchell at one point.
She does have quite a lot of success in that fight still, so...
Yeah. So I'm thinking, well, if Shannon, who is completely below par to what she normally is, had some success, then she is beatable.
Yeah.
However, then seeing her against Carly Skelly, she looked amazing. But it's just bearing in mind that Carly Skelly probably isn't quite world level. So she was there, fighting a sort of non-world level fighter. So she did look phenomenal against her. So I feel that Jamie is beatable, but I would like to see her in the ring more because I haven't fully made my mind up.
Yeah, she's beatable. If Shannon Courtenay and Jamie Mitchell rematched, I think I would edge Jamie Mitchell still.
Really?
And I really like Shannon Courtenay. I think she's a really good boxer, but I don't know. There's something about Jamie Mitchell that I'm not saying she's the world best. And by the way, Nina, I think you would beat her. She is super beatable. Don't get me wrong. I think what excites me about this division is you've probably got a cluster of 6-7 girls. Obviously, you've got the world champions, you've got the likes of Nina and a couple of others who could actually all just get in there. And that's what makes that division really exciting, because we're not just getting, I'm going to say Tasha Jonas, Marie Decare. That unification fight, we're probably quite convinced of who could win, maybe. Whereas these are the fights, this division, where I think everything's kind of up for grabs, and it'll be the division that's really difficult to become undisputed, because I think there's just so many just high level girls in the division. So I do rate Jamie Mitchell. I think she's beatable, and I think Jamie's problem could be she's quite, in a way, one dimensional. What she does is she's going to do that every fight. She's not going to surprise you. Whereas I think she could do it better than a few other girls, but not everyone. Do I think she could unify? I don't know. Could she beat maybe one of the? I don't know. But the fight I would like to see is Nina Hughes, Jamie Mitchell in Vegas, ideally. Let us know in advance. We'll get the fights booked.
If there's anyone out there that wants to sponsor us to go out and watch
because I think your styles would actually make for a genuine fan favorite fight as well. I think your two styles together, it's not going to be one of them fights where you're kind of just waiting for the rounds to pass by. Because I think you would force Jamie to be active. She couldn't just sit back and hope for the 2 minutes to pass against you, because you obviously just wouldn't allow it. Because obviously you're active in your rounds as well. Because I think that was a shame with Shannon. She had success in that fight, and I'm presuming because obviously her leg wasn't in the right place, but she just sat back too much.
Yeah, she just sat on the ropes too long.
Yeah, and whether she, and I know it, but you're there, aren't you? I know Ania was sore, but once you're on the ropes, just throw something. And she was just sitting back for a minute at one point, and I was like, please throw something. So I think as soon as Jamie's got someone who could possibly overwhelm her, we would probably see a different side of it, because Carly Skelly isn't world level, in all fairness, and Carly did not throw a lot, because I think by the second round, I think she had a right hand to the temple, and I think she was gone for the rest of the fight. But I'd like to see that fight though. So
me too.
Get it made.
Okay, right. Fingers crossed.
This is another one I wanted to bring up, because this was kind of back and forth on Twitter as well, and so I'm trying to make this fight.
About 1 million tweets on this.
I can't remember who started it, and then I saw it and I was like, I'd love to see that fight. That would be unbelievable. So then I'm tweeting everyone, I'm tweeting everyone's managers and tweeting promotional companies, the TV rights. I'm trying to get this sorted for my own benefit. Where did this, because I know Lisa's managed by Sam, and I know he was kind of well, yeah, she'll fight anyone. So I was like, this fight's going to be made. So did we get anywhere with that or no?
No, I'm not sure. I think there was a couple of phone calls between the managers, and then I think there was asked for an offer to put in, and I don't know, I didn't really hear anything else, so I'm not sure. Yeah, I love Lisa. We were friends. She's a good boxer, and our styles would definitely gel. So yeah, I'm sure it's a fight that could happen in the future.
Yeah,
everyone seems to be commenting that they wanted to see it, so why not?
That would be huge, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
All female British clash. You've got to put it. That's got to be for a world title, though, hasn't it? That's a world level fight. That's not just a fight for the sake of it.
Yeah. So that's a tough fight for having nothing on the line,
It's definitely a 50-50 fight. And it'd be a great fight. It'd be an all-action war, I think.
Yeah, it would be. It'd be incredible. And obviously Lisa's just come back, kind of had, in a way, her second pro debut, because obviously she had a very long layoff and she had a very good performance as well. But yeah, that'd have to be for a world title. So ideally, I'm just planning it out for you all. Nina, you go to Vegas. We'll all go to Vegas.
Yeah.
Obviously, you'll beat Jamie. Do you think you beat Jamie on points, or do you think you could get a knockout? Because you've got a knockout already.
I never aim for the knockout, so I don't know. I always aim for the knockout comes as a bonus, isn't it?
Because she's been rocked, hasn't she, Jamie?
Yeah.
So you get the title off Jamie, and then you're probably looking at we'll give you some time off, obviously, over the Christmas period. And then start your camp in January. You could be looking at March for a title defence against Lisa Whiteside.
Whereabouts in the country?
Yeah.
Essex.
Essex, London.
Wembley's my favourite.
Got it all planned out.
That'd be a huge fight though, wouldn't it? I'd love that. Yes.
It definitely got a lot of interest on Twitter.
That's it. Like straight away, the amount of people like back and forth and saying how good of a fight it'd been. It built like a momentum within the space of like 5 minutes, and it kind of was a fight that like no one until I can't even remember who tweeted it initially, but until it was mentioned, no one kind of had it on the radar.
I see it all. I think I'd missed it all that night when it was all going backwards and forwards.
Yeah, you're just catching up at the end of it.
It's gone crazy.
But yeah, I think that's a fight, and like we love British clashes. Like we've obviously just seen Terry Harper, Hannah Rankin, so like we want to see loads of these fights, these big fights, and God, yeah, I'd like that. But yeah, it has to be for a world title, so you know, let's get the Jamie Mitchell one sorted because that would be huge.
That would be.
Pressure is on. I'm just going to quickly ask because obviously I know you're fighting in 2 weeks, Sina, but obviously we've got the Shields and Marshall one.
Yep.
Savannah Marshall, Clarissa Shields, who is winning that one?
I'm rooting for Savannah so much. It is a 50-50 fight. But yeah, I'm going for Savannah. On point.
Has the delay affected them or one of them more than the other, do you think?
I haven't seen so much of them since I haven't seen them as much as the build up this time, so I don't know. It can affect you mentally. It is hard when the fight's postponed. So it's how they deal with it both. But I'm sure they're both professional and they both want it more than anything. So I don't think it will affect them too much.
Yeah. And Susie, I feel like, was you sitting on the fence for this fight?
Yeah.
Can't even remember, can you now?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll start fresh this one. Whatever I said before doesn't
Yeah.
I think basically I love them both, but I'm leaning towards probably more Clarissa, just because I feel like Clarissa's so slick that it doesn't matter how strong you are, if you can't catch that person, you can't knock them out. Yeah. So that's what I'm leaning towards. However, I mean, Savannah, the heaviest hitter in women's boxing, exciting fighter. It all depends on the night. I think we said this before as well. It depends on the mindsets on the night as well. Yeah, it's just exciting. I can't wait.
Yeah, I think all of this delay is going to play a massive factor, though. And I think we'll see it on the night. Just want to quickly mention, obviously, Clarissa Shields has been stripped of her Ring Magazine belt. She didn't know, which I think just sums up boxing perfectly, doesn't it? Like, you've just been stripped of a belt, but you find out because your belt is now on the fight poster of someone else's fight. That actually just sums up boxing. Like, she's being stripped. No one knows why. They're trying to find out why, but
the same because she's been inactive at that weight, because the last time because when she won it was against Marie Decare 18 months ago, and apparently in their rules say 18 months inactivity in a way you get stripped.
What about Troy?
But yeah, exactly. But if you count that she's also ring champion at middle and she hasn't been stripped of that, and I think she's been inactive there longer.
It's just the lack of consistency that bugs me in boxing. Like, if she's going to be stripped, fine, because she isn't going to be fighting at that weight for the next fight. I don't think it's the end of the world. I think it is fair enough. But it's fact one, at least ring her. Just say, oh, hi, Clarissa, Sasha, just so you know, you're not going to have your belt tomorrow. So I think that's fair enough than putting it on, obviously, like Tasha Jonas's fight poster. Not her fault. But then, like, I mean, and Clarissa brought this up, and I was so glad when she was like, well, Choi is inactive, and she's still got her world title. And I was like, yeah, you go, Clarissa, you tell them. Because What's Choi fighting for now? What is it? Go on, Susie. What is it? What's she fighting for?
The Weaver used to be pretty prestigious, but it's not one of the main four. You're a champion. You're avoiding all the other champions. What is the sense of this?
It's just actually becoming quite funny now, isn't it? Like, it gets funnier as the weeks go on because she's just she's just taken everyone for a ride, and she's sat there. She's had 2 fights in 2 years, declined everyone's opportunity to unify, and then she's going to be paid a shit ton of money to fight for Undisputed after doing nothing for 2 years. Like, is she the smartest woman in boxing?
And she's in the world record, like Guinness World Records, isn't she? And all that. And you just think she's really like, oh, it's just so undeserving, isn't it? Like, I don't mean to be horrible because, you know, it's great that she had that belt in a, you know, world title in her debut and all that. But it just happened to be a time when you could do something like that, whereas you couldn't do that now, you know?
It just gets funnier, doesn't it? It actually does just get funnier because it's just such a piss take, isn't it? Like, I don't know how she gets away with it. She's going to be offered silly amounts of money to fight the winner of Maya Baumgardner. And you know what? It wouldn't even surprise me if she was like, no, I'm all right. I'll do it. I don't even want to be undisputed. I just want to keep my one belt and just never fight. Literally would not surprise me.
Carry on getting record for longest defense.
Maybe that was her goal. You know, where like, Nina, your goal is to become world champion. Choice is to be in the Guinness Book of Records. We all have different dreams and aspirations, don't we? Before I asked you about Maya and Baumgardner's one, Michaela Mayer tweeted that they are banned from being on Sky Sports Live because Alicia Baumgardner kept swearing when they were doing like the little face-to-face, which was quite funny. Michaela's since deleted that tweet, I noticed before.
Hey.
Yeah, which I love. So that'll be interesting because we've got to have them there. That they are so funny together, them two. They should have a podcast once they've had a fight because their back and forth is ridiculous. So it'd be a shame if we don't get them on Sky Sports Live, I think. But
yeah, there's definitely like for each other there.
It's actually so funny though. It really they are comical together.
Yeah.
But I hope they like each other down the line because I actually they could be like a little reality program, the two of them just like riff off each other. Nina, who wins that fight?
I'm going Maya.
Points or knockout?
Points. I think she's the much busier, more skillful. Baumgardner's got the power to knock her out, but it's still a 50-50 fight, but I'm going for Maya.
Yeah. Susie, who do you think?
Same. I'm going for Maya because, you know, we know what we get with Maya. She's proved herself. She's more experienced. The fight against Hamadouche has just completely showed her level. Whereas Baumgardner, we haven't seen enough. You know, she could surprise us all, but I just feel like looking at what they've both achieved, I feel like Maya's the one that edges this.
I think like mentally as well, I definitely give Maya a point for that. I think Alicia looked irritated during fight week with some of the things, and I think Maya's just taking it all in a stride. She's just there for a bit of banter, isn't she? I don't think Maya takes any of it to heart. I think she's just there for the sake of it and saying things because she knows she gets a reaction. I think Alicia like looks pissed off and rattled at times, which I love. But I think mentally, I think if Maya plays it right, like, do you know how Terry Harper and Hannah Rankin, like, when they got in the ring and they were like got dead close and they were like glaring at each other and the ref had to put them back? I think if Maya plays a couple of tricks like that, the first like couple of minutes in that ring, I think it could irritate Baumgardner quite easy. And then we could see her fight aggressive, which is dangerous, especially against Maya. And people don't see her as like a power puncher. We all talk about Baumgardner being a power puncher. We know the Terry Harper knockout, but she didn't knock the next girl out, who was nowhere near world level, in all fairness. Maya, I don't know how Hamadouche survived that fight, but Maya shows she's also got power. So I know a lot of people said either Baumgardner knockout or Maya points, but I think we could see a Maya stoppage. Yeah. I think she could really wear Baumgardner down and maybe get like a 9th round stoppage in the 1 minute, 10 seconds of the round.
You'd love us. That
But I'm looking
tweet,
forward to that.
in that tweet, Maya mentioned a new coach for Baumgartner. Now, I don't know how true this is. Is this true? Because if this is true, this is huge, because to have a shake-up like that in this period of time before the rematch, it's quite a big.
I don't know, because she deleted the tweets, so we'll never know. I actually don't know, because she can kind of incline that she's had like several coaches throughout the time, which again, like, I find that very interesting. And like, mentally, where does that put you? Why are you going through so many coaches? Like, why can't you keep one? Do you know what I mean? You must be a bit of a pain in the arse if like you can't keep a trainer. Or is it a situation where when things don't go right, you're blaming your team rather than taking ownership yourself? I think, I know it's not women's boxing, but I think Anthony Joshua has shown to do that. He keeps, every time he loses, he gets a new team rather than going, oh, could be me. So that'd be interesting, but I don't know. I don't know how true that is, or whether it's, again, Maya just trying to stir the pot a little bit. But for whatever reason, she had to delete the tweets, and I'm presuming it's something to do with the fact she said they've been banned from Sky Sports. So for whatever reason, she's had to delete it. But looking forward to that. So obviously that's October 15th. Before we finish, Nina, where are you in camp? Are you coming to the end of your camp now?
Yeah, I've got last spar on Thursday, so last hard week this week, and then just a bit of ticking over next week, really.
Nice. And who have you been sparring for this camp?
I've sparred all different. I sparred Shannon Ryan today. I'm sparring Lauren Parker. Sparred Sky Jackson. Who else have I sparred? I don't think. May Rose.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been a good camp. And then shout out as well, Lauren Parker and the rest of them at Unified Promotions are fighting this Friday as well.
Yes.
Looking forward to that. Lauren Parker, I mean, Spencer Oliver has tipped Lauren Parker to be a future world champion as well. So she's doing good things.
For an IBO international belt, isn't she? So she's excited.
Yeah. So yeah, she's got a title as well. So I'm sure she's going to win that.
Yeah, and Sky Nicholson in 2 weeks. I know Sky's on her way.
Sky's on the same day as well in Australia. On the 15th.
Oh, that's the 15th as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So she's boxing, because there was me, Lauren, and Sky all sparring together the other day, and we was all boxing for titles. So yeah, Sky's boxing for a Commonwealth title in Australia on the same day as well.
How good is that for sparring? Because sometimes a girl will come over and spar with you because they're helping you out.
Yeah.
Is it different when you're all in camp together? Is there kind of a different like energy or intensity when all of you are in camp sparring?
Yeah, because we're all looking for the hard spars. We're all working on things, so it's always a good spar, and we're helping each other at different styles. So it's great. It's good sparring.
Yeah, definitely. Well, exciting times. Nina, thank you for joining us. Best of luck. Good luck in the rest of your camp as well. I hope it goes quickly for you.
Yeah, good luck.
And best of luck on October 15th. Can people still get tickets for your show?
Yeah, contact me if you want tickets. They'll be available.
Amazing. So are you mainly on Instagram and Twitter?
Yeah, Instagram, Facebook. I don't Twitter. I just about you.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much and best of luck.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.
No, thank